eerily quiet out here in the city of Newburgh this morning. Last night I found this really cool Schwinn, but I also found these other two kind of crappy bikes. So let's talk about those first. I definitely got all excited when I saw the chrome fork tips on this thing, but it's really just a little 24-inch kids road bike. But it is a Univega, and piece of trivia, my second real bike was a Univega. I don't remember which model. That was like the late 70s. This thing is a Univega Super Star. So if you ride it, you're a superstar, I guess. And it has a steel stem and Suntour shifters and this cotter crank set, which is not really great. But look at these awesome tires. It's like somebody had this bike in China and equipped it with new tires and then brought it to the US with its new tires on. And I have a hard time believing that this X-Age derailleur is original. So if it's not, it makes me wonder how that got on there. But the front one has a Suntour Spirit, that's probably original. And then right above that, you see this sort of half mixty junction. Because this bike isn't a full mixty, it's like a half mixty, but it's okay. You know, I'm sure some little kid enjoyed it in the late 70s to early 80s. So to continue the theme of blue girls 10-speed bikes from like the late 70s, early 80s, this one is called the Pinnacle. I don't agree with that. This bike is not the pinnacle of anything. Now, if you know a wicked lot of stuff about bikes like I do, you'll know that FS stands for Free Spirit, but if you don't know that, you can just look at the head tube. And there it is, the Free Spirit head tube decal. So Free Spirit was a brand of bikes you could get at Sears, I think. And they were probably better than Huffy's, but not quite as good as bike shop bikes. This one's not that bad. It's got little alloy brakes, it has 26-inch wheels with gum wall tires. In the back it has a tourney derailleur, and then if you go a little further it has a Shimano in the front, and then this big ugly cottered crankset. But what do you want for a department store bike? And I do really like the lugged frame with little gold trim, that's pretty cool. I don't really like the steel brake levers complete with surface rust, but again, what do you want? Somebody bought this bike at Sears for like $89.95. So now that we have those two blue little girls bikes out of the way, let's check out this SCHWINN Spitfire and see what year it was made. The serial number on this thing was C124314, which means it was made in the year 124,314. That's in the future. Nah, I'm just kidding. It was probably made in like the 50s or the 60s. I'll check later. And I'll put like a little thing in the bottom of the screen so you can see. So the thing I like the most about this bike is the seat, or the lack thereof. It's really just a bunch of springs at this point, but it used to be a seat. Here, check it out from the back, assuming it stays in focus. The handlebars on this bike are super rusty, and oddly enough, the frame's not really super rusty. Like, you can see that it's somewhat rusty, kind of rusty, but not super totally rusty. I think this is what you call a balloon tire bike, or like whatever it was that came after balloon tire bikes. But right now the tires don't really resemble balloons. See, this is what's left of the front tire, and then here's a bunch of leaves and stuff that are stuck to the wheel. So what is that? Like a leaf, not balloon tire bike? And then in the back you have like this big, I mean, you had one in the front, but the one in the back is even bigger, this big gnarly looking fender. I guess that means if you're doing your paper route in the rain, you won't get splashed. But that is one cool looking fender, and it's really weathered. Like, check this out up close. See, that's a detailed shot of the weathering on the fender. That'd be a pretty good name for a rock group, the Weathered Fenders, I guess. Now, this bike has a classic frame configuration where you got the two tubes that go from the front all the way to the back that turn into the seat stays. And then down here you have your chain guard, you know, to guard your chain against whatever things might prey on a chain. And there you go, the SCHWINN Spitfire. And I'm reading it backwards, so it's Spitfire and then down here is SCHWINN. But if you go left to right, like we do in America, SCHWINN Spitfire. Now these pedals are what's called block pedals, and they won't turn at all. And the cranks won't turn at all, and the steering wheel won't turn at all, or the handlebars, or whatever this is. Plus the chain is really stiff. It might be beyond WD-40. So whether or not this bike is salvageable, remains to be seen, and I'll let whoever buys it from me for 20 bucks see it. But whatever the fate of this bike turns out to be, at least I kept it out of the landfill for a few more days, weeks, months, years, or maybe forever. So yay me. And that is your SCHWINN Spitfire from the past, or maybe the future, here in the city of Newburgh, New York. Thanks again for watching.